Hi, Tobasi. Hello, everyone. I'm Alex Aron. I'm the artistic director of the Remote Theater Project, and it's my great pleasure to introduce Ahmed Tobasi to you. He is an actor and the artistic director of the Freedom Theater in Jenin, who I had the enormous pleasure to meet. I was trying to think about exactly the date. I think it was like 2017. It was about 5 years ago. When we met at the Freedom Theater for a workshop that I was doing with Amir Nisar Zorbi. It was sort of a workshop audition situation for us to meet actors for this new project that we were at the very beginning of developing, which later became his play Grey Rock, which has been seen here in the States in 2 separate occasions. And then most recently, I met Tobasi in the end of August, just a couple months ago, for a very intense, experience of walking around the theater and more specifically walking around the camp, which I had never actually, gone through so extensively. I was there visiting with an actor who had never been to Palestine, an actor named John Rotomak, who is Ugandan but lives in the UK, and Fida Zidan, who is a marvelous Palestinian actress who's worked with the Freedom Theater a lot. And so in addition to walking and seeing the activities of the theater, Tobasi gave us an incredible history lesson walking around the camp. And I actually had it was very intense. I sort of had a panic attack at one moment because it was just so vivid and so real. And anyway, I'm also just, so impressed with you as an artistic director, the energy and passion that you're bringing to the work that you're doing, and to see the evolution of the person that I met, all those years ago, who had diligently prepared for that audition, unlike a lot of other people, which was a ridiculous monologue from Miss Julie that I was so impressed with the amount, I don't know why that monologue was chosen, but anyway. So it's my enormous pleasure to introduce you and to talk about your work and this incredible piece that is your based on your life story, your autobiography. So I'd love you to just say a few words of introduction about yourself as well.
There's not much to say actually, but yeah, I think it's for me sometime when I think, we live this life and we are busy always in the future, and we never had sometimes to think about what happened to us. I will stop a bit. Yeah, you hear me now? Yes. So we don't have time to stop, but for me, it's crazy when I remember 30 years ago, when I started going to the children's houses that Arna Merkhamis, the mothers Giuliano, built in that time in Jenin camp in the first Intifada. And I really also went outside to Europe, and I asked for asylum, and I stayed in Norway, and I lived there. And I never thought I'm gonna come back to Palestine. I thought, done, I am starting a new life, but theater again brought me back to where I born, to work for the children, the people, the things that everyone was telling me we need this energy. We need somebody that can give us this energy to continue. And I never thought that I could be sent from, I don't know, from God, from energy, from somebody that to put me in this place after all these difficulties, Freedom Theater going through. I think I believed after Giuliano's death and he paid his blood for this vision, it took me at least 10 years to understand why is the Freedom Theater going through all these difficulties in different levels. And I really never thought I'm gonna be an employee in the theater, because I love to be freelance. I love Freedom Theater and work with the Freedom Theater, but also I love to travel. I love to do my things. But when I see this gap after some actions happened to the Freedom Theater, it took me a decision that I will help. but I never present myself as an artistic director or somebody important. I just want to be there, continue saving until somebody else will come and have the responsibility to continue. But yeah, in the end, I find myself in this title after 2 years actually without this title, working in it. And like, okay, shit, I'm getting more responsibilities. So today, yes, it's really what it makes me continue in this passion is because I can see the most valuable thing I can give is the death. So if they kill me because what I'm doing, I will be very happy. I will be very appreciated not to die in a very boring, simple way, because I offer all this to the dream for many young people, for many young women, for many special cases that going around, and everyone is looking for this square to have the freedom, the space, the chance to express and be themselves. So yes, hope that gonna bring something inshallah in the future.
Well, I really hope that you have many decades of vital life doing this job ahead of you, because the work you're doing is fantastic. The work the Freedom Theater is doing fantastic. And I was talking with Kate and Sivan about how, you know, the fact that you are from this place and it is in every pore of your body, and that walking into this role in this camp, you're not an outsider from a different part of Palestine, or, you know, someone coming in to do something. That's a very critical, I noticed that was just a completely different a level of connection to the community, of course. So I am interested in talking a little bit more about your relationship with Giuliano, since you mentioned him. I mean, I think that most people in this audience who is going to be around this evening, you know, understand a little bit of the history of the Freedom Theater, but I'm particularly interested in your personal relationship with Giuliano, which you touch on, you know, it's touched upon in your work, but I'd love you to elaborate a little bit more.
Maybe some people will be even surprised. Like, my relation to Giuliano was like fight all the time, and but for sure, I remember Giuliano when he started to work as in the Stone Theater with this drama group that he created, and I was very little boy sitting there watching their rehearsals. He teaching them very basic drama exercises. And I remember that scenes, which you can see also in Arna's Children documentary. And from that time, you know, the second Intifada happened. I went to prison. And when I went out from the prison, you know, because even my life or my monodrama talks about this, inside the prison, a sketch made a whole turnabout. Where was I going and when I was thinking. So when I went out from the prison, it was the first days that Giuliano start to prepare the Freedom Theater, let's say, in 2005. And I saw, it's like, wow, this is Giuliano. Like, after all this year, like, in a way, this is Giuliano. And I thought he remembers me. Like, I was very naive. I don't know why or how. And I went to the theater, and he was fixing some curtains for the windows. And I told him, you need some help. And he told me, I know you Arabs. You don't do anything for nothing. Tell me, what do you want? I said, no, I want to help. You want me to hold the ladder for you? He said, no. He said, no, tell me, what do you want, or you go out. And I was very disappointed. I went out that he didn't know me, and he deal with me as other Arabs. I know I'm Arab, but I'm against the Arab style life, moral, whatever. So after that, some things happened, and somebody told him, like, you have Ahmed Tobasi in the camp. He's also a young boy that he also starting this, so you can help. Like, oh, the one I sent out. They said yes. Like, okay. Then he called me back, come to the theater, and we started the first class theater acting class in the Freedom Theater. I was also teaching some kids some dabka or public dance and some small things. And then in the school, you know, Giuliano came with a new way of presenting the ourselves and how to talk about the struggle and how to talk about the incubation. And he shook us. And that's Giuliano. You never know. You never expect how he gonna receive you. You think he can, you think he's happy, then you find him very angry. He can make you the queen of the world, and next moment he can broke you up. And this conflict that he have all the time makes everything around him in conflict too. And that's what I think after years, Giuliano was looking for somebody or for some people, or to finish this conflict or to give it to other people. Because I think Giuliano, he lived all his life in conflict as an identity, as a person, as everything around him was two faces. Everything in his life, in his history, in his work, in everything, it was always have two sides that he don't know how to deal with it. As a human, as one, he have no reason to have this kind of identity, which is already conflict. So he brought this new way of talking, presenting, speaking, but also we did not understand him. It took us years. It took us a blood alive to understand what he was talking about. And today, I think, yes, many students, many children that Giuliano teached, they already got it. They got the conflict, but in a positive way, a conflict that they doubt, they don't accept realities, they try to do search, they try to ask, they try to present everything they're going through. And I think, yes, that's why also Freedom Theater is still alive, is because this kind of conflict that we try to bring, which is the individual freedom. And for me, yes, I thank Giuliano today after maybe 30 years, I thank him. But yes, my relationship to him wasn't really that relaxed. We fight every day because I was the oldest student, and he always, was challenging, for me, the reason I left Palestine is Giuliano. The reason I go out to study in another place is Giuliano, because he always was saying, I will bring you to the moon. We will be stars. We will go around the world. And because I was always fighting with him, I said, no, I will make myself. I will finish as an actor, be ready, and I will come back to you to tell you that I made myself without you. But before I come back, in 2011, Giuliano being killed, and I was very sad for sure for him and for the event. But to be honest, in the beginning, or in the first time I hear the news, I was angry that he died before I came back. He died before I show him that I finished without him. But that's the secret. That's the magic. And yes, today, now I tell Giuliano, you can smile where you're lying now. You can smile to say that you did and you success what you were planning to us to do. And the Freedom Theater now, it's still here in 2002 with all these struggles, problems, whatever attacks. The Freedom Theater is still open for anyone from this community. He want or she want to be different and change her life.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you. I mean, you led me into the, this dovetails nicely with a follow-up question I had about the current situation in Jenin, which I know is really fraught and getting worse by the day. And how is that affecting the work and the energy or the relationships of the students to the work? I mean, so now if you were 2005 and that was the first class, so we're now, have there been years where it was continual ever since then? There's always been classes. So we're talking about, what is it, 17 years. And so how is what's happening now with the development, particularly of the training of the young people in the classes, being impacted by what's going on? And do you see it changing any of the intentions with which it was started?
Yeah, no, I think, yes, there is many changes happened. For example, from before 17 years, we were fighting to exist in this reality, in this camp, in this community. We had attacks, shooting, bombing at the theater just to close it up because it was very different. It was very new. It's a new thing on this community, internationals, and you know, our community, the Palestinians, the young people, they never saw any foreigner. The only foreigner they see is the Israeli soldier. So for them, any foreigner, it could be a soldier or a spy. So it is difficult in the middle of this attacks and invasions, death, destructions. You bring me a theater to do what with it? I'm losing my children, somebody losing their houses, and you bring me theater? So they were, for sure, they were very angry and not understand. But today, there is no question Freedom Theater is existing or not. We are here. We are here, and there is children come asking about plays. There is young women looking for different workshops. There is a shows that we put on the stage. And this year, last year, we had the first edition of the Feminist Theater Festival. This year, inshallah, we're planning to it. So it's not, there is no doubting about the Freedom Theater exists or not. We are here, and it's not about a question, are we going to continue or we exist or not? But also, the situation is very difficult. Whatever you plan, whatever hard work you do, you have something that you cannot do anything with, which is the occupation, the Israeli soldiers who attack every night, every morning, Jenin refugee camp. Jenin is one of the most attacked places, and that's what makes me and not crazy, because these speeches, these talks, they brought us 20 years back. When I look 20 years back, when Giuliano started to work, and after 2002, after the invasion, is nothing happened different. The Israeli army still attack. They still stealing our dreams. They're still stealing our plans. We're not living a normal life. And that's the problem is because we are a conservative community, and if there is a martyr, you cannot do anything as a martyr. So you have to close down. Sometimes you have a productions. Sometimes you have a festival, and sometimes the martyrs become 2, 3, 4, 6 martyrs, 20, 40 injured young people in the morning. So what you can do, you have to close the whole week, that you cannot do anything. And you know, in the theater, there is plans, there is budgets, there is receipts, and everything that makes our work much more harder. But still, young people, as they come to study theater with all this situation, we still have some individuals looking to study theater and have this experience, which is not easy to be in a school theater, because nobody paying you to do that. There is no help from government or organization to give you money to study theater. And for sure, there's not a lot of work for theater and new actors at the time. But yeah, that the individuals we're looking for to develop their tools to go in this kind of experience, and they will become a new seeds and examples for the other communities. I think we are building a new relationship, a new era, that we try to include the whole family in our activity in the theater. Our plays contain like not just children but their mothers. We have now families who are friends for the theater. They are really like the community of the theater, and they are not from just the camp. They are from outside the city. And today we broke this kind of border between a camp and the city, because there is differences all the time that the Israelis try also to apply it and make it a structure, because, you know, divide and rule. This is the way, the strategy of the occupier. And for sure, that's why the Palestinians are very divided, from like Palestinian West Bank, Palestinian Gaza, Palestinian refugee, Palestinian city, Palestinian North, Palestinian South, Palestinian camp. Like it's many. And even you can go inside, they try also to divide the same territories. So I think they know why theater is very dangerous, and that's why everything trying to make it more difficult for us to exist in this community. Because for any theater, it would be easier to go to a city or a relaxed place or a community or a people who are already doing theater and understanding, no, this is the easy way. We are not choosing the easy way. We're using the bitter way. Bitter way is to be in this kind of communities and places and try to change and make a possibility for other new young people. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned, I mean, that was one of the things I wanted to ask you about is the opportunities for collaboration with, particularly with the 48ers. Like I know for me, like when we were developing Grey Rock, it was very important that we not just bring 48ers, into the States, that it be, and we tried to get actors from Gaza. That was too hard, but we were able to get a couple of actors from the Freedom Theater and from the West Bank. And but it was challenging, and it was like people hadn't done that as much. Like Khalifa, Fida, they were like they hadn't worked with the actors on the other side. And of course we had to meet in Ramallah, which nobody lived in Ramallah, but we all had to go to Ramallah because it was the only place that that everyone could get to. So I would love you to talk more about how the development, because I know now that a lot of the 48 actors are working with the Freedom Theater a lot, and there's much more solidarity and connection. Or am I wrong about? I mean, that seems to me from what my
this is also one of our points and one of our way that to think that how we keep connecting, because that's the problem. If we don't meet, and that's for me, not just in 48 and West Bank and Palestine, this is the whole world. For me, everybody asking for the right of speech, and for me, no. I think I support more the right of travel, the right of moving, because when you move, you will meet people. The vision will get closer. They will get to know each other. And for me to deny or to make people not travel, you killing them in somehow. You put them away from the world and what is going on. And that's why even in West Bank, in Israeli territories or settlements, they put in each Palestinian village or territory, they put a big sign, red sign for the Israelis or for the settlers. Watch out, for example, don't go in this area, which is under Palestinian, I don't know what. So they already scared them.
And you're risking, and it says you will risk your life if you go any further. I mean, yeah.
You risk your life. Why? Because they always want to make this monster for the Israelis themselves. How the government gonna control them? How they're gonna make the money and the taxes, for sure. Also from America, how they're gonna pay more money, the tax from America to go to Israel. For sure, they will tell them, look, there is killers, there is terrorists, there is people eating other people. So they want to keep this distance, for sure. And for me, yes, all these visas, all these borders, all these flags, all these procedures to make people, humanity not meet, not be together, not aware of what is going on in different countries. For sure, divide and rule. That's the whole strategy. So for us, we believed Giuliano and the other people who were starting and helping the theater in the beginning, they all were almost from the 48, and we are in Jenin, West Bank. And that's what we want to connect, to meet, because the Palestinian inside the 48, which is called Israel, they are losing their heritage in somehow, because they are dealing with the Israelis as a normal thing all the time. And normalization is very also big thing and problem in Palestine. For example, in West Bank, people got used to checkpoints, got used to see the wall. In Jenin camp, they got used to have martyr every day. They got used to have the invasions every day. And in the Freedom Theater, we try to say, no, this is not normal. You need therapy. If you think a checkpoint, it's something normal, then the big problem. And that's the problem. If you pass the checkpoints this time, you will find a 2002 checkpoints, nice pavement, nice colors, nice umbrellas, and you don't notice this is a checkpoint. And that's what the Israelis, they try to do. They try to do the occupation is invisible, that you cannot see, but you feel. If you go the whole way from Hebron to Jenin, you will pass two major checkpoints and you will not feel them. If you don't know, you will not feel they are checkpoints. And they're cutting the West Bank 3 parts. And you will not pass that much wall. If you travel all West Bank, you will not see the occupation. You will not see tanks. And you start wondering as a foreigner or somebody from outside, where is the occupation? But that's the way. That's what the Israeli doing, is always keeping it not visible for other people. But yeah, we believe that this connection has to be stronger and make all the Palestinian meet and connected. So for us, yes, we always try to include in each production some people's actors or makers from 48 and I promise you, you feel when like people, when they come to Freedom Theater, and even they are from 48, even they come to Jenin before, but when they come to the Freedom Theater, it's like you click a button where your heritage come back. You start to think who you are, what you're doing, where we are, and they start to feel more identity. They start to feel
completely. I mean, this is exactly what Fida said. She said of all the theaters now, and she works everywhere, this is the one where I feel the most identity right now. The Freedom Theater is my most interested in what they're doing and in being here. And that's exactly case in point. Because it's
so yes, it's very important to keep, for me, to keep people the right to travel, the people to meet, and to not forget your parts. And for sure, Gaza, as you said, we, even in the Freedom Theater, we still, yesterday I met with the Ministry of Culture, and I told them we are interested to open a theater school in Gaza. We will give and do what we can do, teachers online, send people there to raise the level of the theater and artists in Gaza, especially in theater. So it's difficult. We have been changing these ideas, but still, inshallah, I told the ministry, please bring me to Gaza. I want to start this. Just bring me there and I will find people to work with. And so inshallah, I hope so. It's our attention. And yes, this is one of our major points, to keep the relation with all Palestinian territories.
Great. Thank you. I just have one, I mean, I know we're getting short on time now. I do want to talk about your aspirations for this piece, and what are some of the challenges that you're facing right now in presenting the work.
The piece, actually, it's funny, this piece come as a joke. The idea, we were joking, we were doing the siege, which also been in US, but I couldn't travel because the
I was
same
going to
issue.
ask you about that. I was like trying to remember if I had seen you in New York when the siege was here, and then I was like, I guess if not, yeah. So no. Yeah.
So we were 6 actors, and I was joking to the directors, telling them, like, to Nabil and Zoe Leverity, like, guys, why you need 6 actors? I'm enough. Come on, let's do something with myself alone in the stage. You don't need other people. And you know, that was a joke. And then, next days we start to talk with Zoe, and then we start to think about monodrama to present the life. And she was really, he shaped a lot into to shape the idea. I mean, she shaped the whole project. But yeah, it was for me very, very difficult to accept that I'm gonna say everything about my life. And I didn't know what is allowed, what is not. But then I was scared, like, why is my life? I mean, there is many other people who had more difficult, stronger stories. Why is me? But then we worked in the elements, and yeah, it's like, I am a refugee in my own country. Then I'm a refugee outside my country. And then I was in a prison, and I was in the armed resistance. And I don't believe in armed resistance somehow. I believe more in different ways, but yeah, whatever. And when I start to talk about my details, my small details in my life, after 30 years, when Hassan Abdulrazzak started writing it, I start to think to myself, like, fuck, is this my life? I mean, it's like, fucking hell, how I'm still even considering myself.
It's an incredible story. It's an incredible story. Yeah, but you didn't even realize, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When you look back, even me, when I read the first draft of the text, I'm like, fuck, this is my life, and I'm still normal. I'm sure I'm not normal. I'm sure I need a therapy. I'm sure I need a hospital. Fucking hell. How young people gonna go through, like, you are 15, you are 13, you will go through invasion, people, prison. It's crazy. And that's what we want to say. We try to say, to give the children the space to be children. And that's also one of the things that the Freedom Theater tried to do, because in the camp, in this community, when you are 15, you are already a man. You have to go work, you have to help, you are in prison, and that's the young people. They don't have choices here. You will be a martyr or a prisoner or a handicap. That's the only futures that the Israelis and the West bringing the path for the young Palestinian. And in the theater, we try to secure this place to play, to be a child, and just to be a child, nothing more. And that's what I think about many old people in Palestine. They do not have the childhood life. We don't have the tradition of family culture, family weekend, family day. The man is busy in the work, the mother busy with taking care of the family and children. And in the end, the Israeli army will come and they will decide what's your future, children's future. So it's always difficult, because this play, it brought me problems, brought me, let's say now I am denied from US. In London, they write about it. Like, you talk about Islamic Jihad, you talk about the Palestinian faction, and they connect it to the Islamic Jihad of the world, which is ISIS and Daesh, which has nothing to do with. We talk about the Palestinian resistance. And it cost me, people knew, like people in the camp, people in Jenin, my friends, they knew more details about me. And for me, it was really challenging. Why I should tell these details about love story, about problems, about Norway, about the camps, about the resistance, about the prison. And for me, I criticize the Palestinian factions and the Palestinian prisoners sometimes. And then this brought me problem. People will know my opinions. People will know what I'm thinking, and then they will judge me and put me in some boxes. But for me, when I share it with other people and I see other people have some parts from my life, it's like, exactly, at least I got the privilege and the chance to tell my story to the people, where there are many other people have more difficult stories, but they didn't get the chance to tell it to the people. So yes, I believe as also the Freedom Theater now, we have a new era of working on the personal story. In Giuliano time, Giuliano was dreaming to work like international novels with, big things, light, costume, that's his way. And then we change now to really, we want the personal stories. We want to start from personal stories in order to go to other bigger community and talk about more bigger cases.
Yeah. Yeah, I was able to just look at the little clip that Cadence Yvonne sent me. And I loved how simple it was. I loved it, just you standing and talking, and that it's not, complicated with extraneous,
No, because the story is not important for me. And, with the theater makers today, I think many of theater makers or young theater makers, they try to be arty. They try to make something that people, I don't know what, investigated. For me, the story, what is the story, what you say.
And that's all over the world too. that impulse, I get that. Anyway, I think that I could talk to you forever. I really could. I'm just super impressed. I mean, thank you for sharing your story and for being brave about it. And I think it's beautifully constructed. The editing is like lovely. It's just super engaging. And I really hope that you can bring it to the States and share it with the audiences here.
Inshallah, we will do one show like in the front of the White House.
There you go. There you go. Or the Kennedy Center just down the street.
Oh, Kennedy Center, exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. And I hope, inshallah, as you said, like, and as that we'll get the chance to present the story in US, because I believe it's going to talk about different interested things for the American, let's say, audience. But also I want to remind you about Giuliano, what was saying, the stage is my AK-47. Our stage, our theater, it's not really an it's a need. It's a need, it's a way that we can express and fight through. And he was always saying, the third intifada will be an artistic, cultural intifada. That, yes, we believe in poetry, in theater, in music, in all these things that we can reach the world and make a nice, lovely, romantic intifada. And I also believe in the fourth revolution will be a Jewish revolution. I believe the Jewish will stand up one day and try to save their heritage from this state who try to steal their heritage. And also, as Giuliano was always saying, we dream that the Freedom Theater will become a major force, fight for freedom and artists and individuals all over the world. So when Palestine gets freedom and independent, we will move to China, to Uganda, to anywhere and open the Freedom Theater there and fight for what we believe. So I hope also you will be like supporters for the Freedom Theater, because Freedom Theater do not have IDs to give out. If you think you are a Freedom Theater, you believe in the vision wherever, then you are from the family and the community. And thank you very much for your time. And I hope that the future will be much better.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you very much.